Welcome back to another episode of Askewed Reviews. And today I'm reviewing a movie that was recently in theaters. The movie that I'm referring to is the 2026 film Undertone, directed and written by Ian Tuason. So you may or may not have seen anything about this film due to its limited release, but most of its marketing did try to have this feel, or kind of the way that it was being advertised was as the scariest movie that you'll hear. Undertone, the film, does have a very creepy atmosphere, but you can definitely tell that it leans a lot on its music, on its sound effects, and just in general, kind of everything you're hearing throughout the film. So let me tell you more about the concept to see if this is one that you want to check out for yourselves. In the movie, we meet our main character of Evie. Now, she is currently living with her mother, who has gone into a bit of a comatose state, and unfortunately seems like she's right there near the end of her life. Now, yes, the primary reason that Evie is here is to be the caretaker for her mother. But the other part of it is that whatever is going on with her and her boyfriend does not seem to be going well at the moment. And it becomes even a little worse for her as she discovers that she's in fact pregnant. Now, to keep her mind off of everything that's going on with her personal life and with her mother, she is still continuing to do a podcast series with her best friend Justin. The show that they do together is all about creepy supernatural things, with Evie being the one who is the skeptic and Justin being the one who's a believer. Now, Justin receives a strange cryptic email from a couple known as Mike and Jessa. This is a few different audio logs that are all about something that they experienced, although there's not much explanation as this was just sent to them randomly. Evie and Justin begin listening to these audio logs on their podcast. And as they start to get through them, each event becomes a little stranger, a lot creepier, and a lot more confusing. At first, the audio logs seem like something fun that this couple is doing together, but as it progresses, it becomes weirder and creepier as it looks like an entity might be haunting them or causing some sort of issue within their home. The podcast and these audio files continue to move into a darker and darker subject matter, where they're starting to discuss things about creepy, hidden messages in children's songs, learning about a potential demonic force known as Abizu, and just in general, things become really strange when it comes to Evie's house because whatever is happening potentially is now connected to something that's going on with her as things become creepy, weird noises are happening, and everything starts to spiral out of control. So if you want to find out whether or not Evie and Justin make it to the end of these audio files, you'll only be able to discover that by watching Undertone. So first off, I do want to applaud this film for its really creepy atmosphere. They did a great job of the visuals, of the sounds. Obviously, that was their big selling point, but it did have a very just dark and sinister feel to it most of the time. And especially the kind of research or whatever information they added to those children's songs and stuff like that also brought it to another just creepier level. Now, I will say this, some of the sound effects definitely were creepy, but there were some that just were really annoying. And I just was sitting there during some scenes just being like, please just make this sound stop. Also, as an encapsulated film, I thought they did a good job with that, which what I mean by that is you have the movie where the characters don't really go anywhere, or even if they do, where the setting is doesn't really change, as it's really just a couple of the rooms in the house that the whole movie takes place in. And other than Evie and little bits of her mother, all the other characters are just audio. Now, even though the look and the feel was really good on this movie, I did feel that the character of Evie, we didn't really get to connect to her too much. And I don't know, I just felt like there was things that were missing to make this feel like a full movie and not just a really long short. You know, where some short horror films, they kind of get to the point really quick on stuff. And even though this is a full length feature, I kind of got that feel from this movie. If you want to see a great example of a movie that's encapsulated, but the audio does such a good job on being really creepy, last year's Hollow Road, which was one of my favorite movies or horror movie, well, movies in general from last year, is definitely one to check out. So there were definitely some aspects that I really enjoyed and some I didn't like at all. So for being very middle of the road on this film, I am going to give it a 3 out of 5. I do recommend checking this one out for yourselves. Like I said, it had a limited release, but it will probably be on streaming very soon. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Askewed Reviews. If you've already seen Undertone, let me know what you thought about it in the comments. And just a random question for everyone out there. If you had, for some reason whatsoever, decided to listen to that first audio log, do you think you could have made it to the end? Or would you have given up right away?